Alright, what's going on, guys? UFC Belgrade just got finished, and this card, bro, I gotta say, bro, this card was absolutely generational. Um, by an absolute blessing by the MMA gods, my work got canceled today, and I was able to stay at home and watch almost this entire card. So I'm quickly gonna go over like the prelims and most of the main card, and then talk about like the main card fights because this fight, or like all the fights on this card, absolute like bangers. So there is some sad news in the co-main event, but don't worry, guys. There's a lot good to talk about here. So, first fight we are going to be talking about is Jovan Leka versus Alexander Popek. And this was definitely a mismatch here, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Popek definitely is a light heavyweight guy. Like 215 versus a guy like Leka who's like 250. It's definitely a mismatch, and especially with how hard Leka threw his kicks, it was definitely going to end sooner rather than later. Landed a beautiful liver kick, hurt Popek bad, and then just got the TKO. I think Jovan Leka could be pretty promising. We are starting to get a lot more, like, still kind of blobby, but promising heavyweights in the UFC. I'd love to see him go against, like, a real heavyweight instead of, like, a kind of fat light heavyweight, and I'd love to see Popek in the light heavyweight division because he does seem pretty fast. We just need to see him against guys like his actual size. So pretty good knockout. Unfortunately, I didn't see the submission, guys, but it seems like a cool quick little submission. Next up, the UFC.com website's glitching out, so yeah, I'm just gonna quickly go over this. Haley Cohen is chinny to the body. She genuinely has like zero striking toughness. She genuinely cannot take shots, and absolutely not UFC level. I think she's on a 4-fight loss streak, so we can just go ahead and cut her. I can't because of how glitched this is. I can't see the girl's full name, but this Serbian girl does look pretty good, and we always need like new high-level prospects in the women's UFC division. So, pretty good knockout. Two really nice body shots, like body straights, just folded Cohen over. Pretty good women's MMA knockout. You don't see that all that often. Next up, the GOAT, Mateusz Rebecki, bro. Absolute dominance with like the fucking 10-7 type round, bro. I was so excited when this happened, dude. Mateusz got in there. Did his thing, was just like thrown, and then he got the takedown and pulled Prepolek up against the fence and just started raining just crazy ground and pound on him, and just beating him up until the ref was like, "Buddy, you got to do something, bud. You got to do something, bud," and then just stopped it. Saved my boy Rebecki's career. Rebecki is back, bro. He is back. Very, very happy. Definitely hope he can get back in the octagon very soon, get a quick turnaround, because he took like, this is very a lot of these guys in this card are going to have a quick turnaround because a lot of people didn't take a lot of damage in these first round stoppages besides the people who got knocked out. So I hope Rebecki can get back in the octagon. Love his fights. Love how active he is. Love how good of a striker and grappler he is. But yeah, absolutely dominated Khalil Prepolek, who unfortunately is not UFC level, is going to get cut. But you know what? The GOAT Rebecki is back. His volume striking is back. And he is, he's here to stay in the UFC. Thought he was going to get cut. Nope. He is staying. My Polish GOAT is back. At least one Polish guy won tonight. Bogdan Grad versus Denis Buziaka. Bazooka, actually. I'm sorry, I pronounced that wrong. Too performative pronunciation. So this one, pretty kind of decent scrap here. Bogdan Grad just used his wrestling very well in the first. And did really well in the wrestling. There were some good like striking exchanges. Bogdan Grad threw some spinning shit, but just pretty dominant first round by Bogdan. And then going into the second round, you could definitely tell that Bogdan kind of tired out a little bit there, kind of like in a Luke Riley fight. But luckily enough, he didn't get chinned because Bazooka has not very great striking. He'd throw kind of cool combinations like an uppercut and then a couple hooks, but he doesn't seem to have the power really at all. And it wasn't enough to put away Bogdan Grad. And eventually, Bogdan kept threatening with the takedowns and then got Bazooka down and then locked up. There was a bunch of really good reversals in this fight. And then Bogdan Grad locked up the arm triangle. And then it was kind of controversial because Bazooka definitely tapped. In my opinion, it definitely looks like he was going to tap. And even if that wasn't a tap, that was a super tight arm triangle, and he was actively grimacing while trying to escape it. He was only like pushing the leg there only put him in a worse situation. So whether or not that was a tap or not, he definitely would have tapped. But I personally thought it was a tap because like he actually like tapped on Bogdan's leg. And to the ref, that looks like a tap, and the ref has to stop it just to protect you from going unconscious if you're tapping. But yeah, Bogdan got it back in the win column. Looking pretty good. He does have pretty good wrestling. I do hope he works on his cardio because going into that second round, it definitely looks like he started to like slow down a lot. But yeah, good little grappling and a little bit of striking matchup here. Next up, this fight was goofy, bro. This was the this is the one of two decisions on this card. Just like I said, guys, this card was generational. This card broke straight records on first round KOs and total like finishes on a card, which is like insane. It broke like a 12-year-old record. But this was just kind of like a funny, silly scrap. You had tiny midget Mark Volgden against Borislav Nikolic. Nikolic, like, we kind of got to work on the hands, buddy. Just holding those hands down in the first round and just kind of swinging at him, instantly getting dropped by Volgden. Pretty goofy matchup. He recovered pretty well going into the wait a minute. Hey, why is it only showing one round? Hey, UFC.com, what are we doing here? That is not for this fight. I don't know which fight this is showing for here, because that was also not Rebeshki Prepelek. That's weird. UFC.com, thank you for glitching. But yeah, this was like a goofy matchup. Borislav, lots of output, just throwing like crazy combos, and Volgden countering him whenever he can. But then you could definitely tell that in going into the second round, Borislav kind of like regained like his confidence in the striking and eventually kind of took over. And then in the third round, they did some pretty cool wrestling, some good scrambles and reversals. And then eventually, Borislav kind of poured it on him and just like kind of beat him up in the ground and pounded. For a guy in Borislav who got knocked down, you'd think his face was really messed up, but in the end of this fight, Volgden had a really messed up face. Like his face was like all like bruised and purple, and his nose was bleeding. But a pretty silly matchup here. Kind of a good like kind of pause in all this action that we're having going on, all these knockouts. Just kind of like a silly little goofy matchup here, in my opinion. You always need a fight like that. That's kind of goofy, where both guys are just kind of throwing shit. Borislav playing with the crowd a lot was pretty fun. And that Serbia crowd, man, I'll talk about it with the Eros match fight, but that Serbia crowd, bro, it's on, like, in my opinion, on par with the French card fans and all their crowds. So, good little silly scrap here. Next up, poor Oban Elliott, boy from Wales gangster. He got like brutally chinned by Michael Oliveira, dude. Michael Oliveira, bro, I swear, bro, welterweight is just getting like these like insane prospects, bro. We got Ty Miller coming back next weekend, bro. They're just like welterweight prospects left and right. New guys just coming in, just destroying folks. Welterweight definitely, in my opinion, has to be the best division right now. So many good guys in the top 5 and the top 15. We'll talk about, more welterweight guys at the top. But, I just love welterweight so much. Like, so many good knockout artists. And when you do have grappling guys like Amosov, they are just amazing grappling guys that hunt for submissions and work on the ground. Just beautiful division. Michael Oliveira dropped Oban Elliott with a jab, I think, and then just kind of chased after him and beat him up on the feet until he got the TKO. I remember he fell to the ground and kind of like reached out and like grabbed for Oban Elliott, which was pretty silly. Yeah, beautiful knockout by Michael Oliveira. I did hear from Paul Felder this guy has a plate in his hand. So I wonder how that may affect him going into the future in the UFC, but definitely very hot prospect. Definitely want to see like all these welterweight prospects could get good tests, but Michael Oliveira, good new welterweight prospect, good things for the welterweight division. And unfortunately, guys, the hate watching it work, bro. In my last video, I talked about how Tofik Messiah was kind of a cheater, and he cheated really badly against Ignacio Bahamondes. And he did cheat in this fight, but he did look pretty good in this fight. He definitely looks like he had way better hands than Ludovic Klein. And I will give Tofik credit. He's fast, bro, and he's got good power in his hands. Just in the second round, as I thought Ludovic was kind of starting to take control of the fight, started landing good combinations, good hooks. Tofik just got him up against the fence and just threw uppercut and hook haymakers, and then just dropped Ludovic, and then landed nasty ground and pound. And this is where he cheated. And unfortunately, with the UFC, refs just refuse to like stop like finishing sequences if there's cheating, because oh my god, they didn't show it in the replay, but I remember watching it live. I think Tofik threw like six just like hammer heads right on the back of Klein's head. So Tofik definitely, although he does have fast hands, he definitely has some cheating aspects to him. And you know, everybody's gonna continue to hate watch him. The hate watching exists for everybody unless you're Azerbaijani. But I can see the appeal. He's got pretty fast hands and good boxing. But I do think the Allura by loss is definitely going to stick with him, and you know, the grappling. I think Musayev will definitely struggle against top grapplers in the lightweight division, but he's clearly here to stay in the UFC and put together a half decent UFC legacy. Feel bad for Lidovic because he just came off that really bad ankle injury, but hopefully he can bounce back because he's clearly good. This guy fought like number 7 ranked Gamrot when he was unranked, so Ludovic definitely shows um fucking what's the word, promise facing like these very high level guys, so hopefully he can bounce back. And you know, Tofik, they might as well just give him like a top 15 guy next. Hopefully they can face him up against like somebody even better than Ludovic Klein, so we can keep testing Tofik to see if he's really UFC level. All right, next fight. Now this one was also pretty silly because I remember people just like the Serbian crowd just hating Noah. I'm just gonna butcher his name, Gunan. They just hated him, bro, and then they just screamed for Janice, bro. And this fight was pretty silly because Janice just went out there. I remember Michael Bisping saying, "Yeah, he's vulnerable to leg kicks. Gotta watch out for that." Bang, instant calf kick, and it reminded me of Demetrius Thompson versus Henry Cejudo, where DJ landed like a calf kick and then kind of like shut down Cejudo's leg. That's kind of what that reminded me of. Janice just like lost like all control in his leg and just kept getting calf kicked. And eventually they got to the ground, and then a couple good like scrambles, but then Unong got the, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, he locked up the rear naked choke and just uh really tight rear naked choke from what I remember. Yeah, rear naked choke. And he looks Gunon looks really good. Definitely looks like a lightweight prospect. I do want to see him against guys who have pretty good anti-grappling, just to see, because he does look pretty good on the feet and on the ground, pretty well rounded. So definitely kind of a new lightweight prospect, just going in there, just destroying both these guys in their debuts. He's just destroying Janic pretty easily. So yeah, I do like some of these guys who are making their debuts looking pretty good. Here we had pretty good project, if you ask me. Vlasto Siepo, guy from like Octagon. I remember some people saying like now that he's getting drug tested, he's pretty terrible. And he went out there like hands like completely low, just like throwing bombs against Gilbert Urbina. And when I looked at this, I was like, yeah, Gilbert just got chinned by Eros Mendes, bro. This Seppo guy, he's probably just gonna do it right. Nope, nope. Urbina just like drops him really good with a counter and then just goes all over him, and then it's just over. And this was probably like a career-saving win for Urbina, deep in enemy territory, knocking out a guy who's a negative 340 favorite. And it was pretty funny to see like Seppo just like throwing like haymakers and shit on him. It kind of reminded me of Ilo Barnowski versus Ivo Aslan. But yeah, like these fights, like these finishes, just like back and forth, like fucking wars. Urbina drops him, finishes him. Looks great. Urbina probably isn't like actually UFC level, neither is Seppo. But you know, he got another win. There's a lot of saving of careers here on this card. So next up here, Desko Trudovic versus Robert Valentin. Valentin actually won a fight recently. Did it for his dead mother, which was pretty wholesome. And this one, lots of good. This was actually a pretty good grappling fight. I'd say if you got people who think that MMA grappling is like boring and terrible, watch this fight. I'd definitely say, because they both like engage in like the clinch and then they get to the ground. Multiple different like reversals and scrambles. Robert Valentin actually locked up like a really good rear naked choke early and was like holding on to it. And it looks like he picked up Turdovic while doing the guillotine, which was so like awesome. I do love Valentin's grappling. And eventually when Dusko, like when they're doing like their scrambles and takes down Valentin, Valentin locks up like another like deep rear naked choke, and then we get like a real tap from Dusko Trdovic. And then after the fight, it was pretty wholesome, I'd honestly have to say. Good on Balancing for getting Dusko on the mic to talk to his people. Robert Balancing is just such a wholesome guy, in my opinion. He's so cool. Even though like he has a couple losses against guys, he definitely looks like he could kind of be like kind of like a prelim mainstay type of guy in the middleweight division. Getting Dusko on the mic to translate for the Serbian people was pretty cool and pretty wholesome, especially considering Dusko may or may not get cut after this one, fighting in his home country, being a getting this place on the main card. But pretty good grappling fight. Definitely recommend this if you do like MMA grappling and you didn't catch this. Beautiful submissions and reversals in this one. Next up, I was actually pretty. This is actually one of the things I was actually pretty correct on here in my last ignore this. In my last video where I broke down like kind of like a couple fights that I actually like kind of knew ball about. Not really. So Rakic here. I was actually pretty impressed that he kind of stayed at a decent weight. He came in at 237, which is what I kind of predicted he should be. Nothing above 240, because then you're kind of getting fat at heavyweight. And you could definitely tell with Tybura that Rakic definitely had like the speed and the kickboxing advantage. In round one, he's just going after him with the kicks, beautiful combinations, ending his punching combinations with a kick. Beautiful body kicks. I knew that was definitely going to be a good thing for Rakic to use against Tybura. Especially since Tybura just kind of jiggles around at range and is just there to be hit. In the second round, I was quite surprised because Rakic actually started to look very timid and patient against Tybura. He kind of stood there at range and picked his shots. I'm not blaming him for that, especially as a guy who gets like chinned a lot. Going up against a big fat guy like Tybura, you never know what he could possibly land in. And Tybura did land a good hook and knee, so I definitely see why Rakic was pretty cautious. But I definitely think he was outclassing Marcin Tybura for most of the fight when he actually like wanted to throw. And then going into the third round, I kind of see the idea, but I definitely think Rakic kind of just took the fight off at the last round, getting in the clinch with Tybura, pretending to be in the takedowns, and then he throw these really nice right elbows, and like kind of like feinting like the takedown and then throwing the right elbow. Pretty good strategy, but it definitely eventually it just got to the point where I was like, yeah, Rakic is just kind of sitting this one out. He knows he's probably up 2-0, and then he can just get the win, and then he's back in the win column. So always worried about Rakic's chin, because he's been like knocked out so much, and this one definitely worried about him being like scared on the feet, being a little bit too patient. I think there are definitely guys at heavyweight that could take advantage of that and not just kind of like jiggle around at range like Tybura does. But it's good to start getting these big blobs out of here that don't do anything like Tybura. Tybura should definitely either be cut or retire. And Rakic getting added to the heavyweight division is pretty cool because he's an athletic former light heavyweight with pretty decent kickboxing, so you love to see it. Next up, it's a tragedy, guys. Yeah, this is really sad for me, guys, because I love Jan Blachowicz. I literally just made a video that got like me tons of views, the most views I've ever had on a video about Jan highlights. And it was pretty sad looking at this one. Jan just kind of didn't look very great on the feet, didn't really have all that much success, and then eventually he gets hit with like a 1-2, goes down, gets brutally ground and pounded by Navajo, and it is pretty sad. But it's in the end, unfortunately, as much as I would have rather this just be like a pitter patter Navajo Sterling kind of striking masterclass on the feet, or Jan Blachowicz retiring in Serbia with a crafty young win. It is what it is, and like I said in my light heavyweight is a disaster video, I said that we have guys like Navajo Sterling, Muhammad Saidov, Iwo Barnowski, Yakyayev. We have guys now that are starting to get up into the top 15, and this is really good for the division. Iwo Barnowski's getting Alonzo Menefield soon, and he will start his up and coming into the top 15, and I do really hope Yakyayev also gets a top 15 fight. So in the end, getting Jan, Jamal, Rakic, And then Alonso out of the top 15 is inherently a good thing, as we have a very beautiful and good new generation of light heavyweights. And Navajo is clearly pretty good after kind of struggling with the grappling with Ion Cutelaba, bouncing back so quickly to knock out former champ and my goat Jan Blachowicz. It was beautiful, beautiful right hand. Pretty sure it was a right hand, yes. And Navajo's definitely got up in the division, so I do want to see him against a guy. And it kind of rocks up kind of like the light heavyweight division, because now what do we do? Do we still like keep with kind of like my idea of Yuri Costa for the interim belt, or do we want to go like Navajo Sterling versus like Yuri for the or actually no, we don't want Navajo and Carlos. You could do like Navajo versus Costa as like a fight night main event, which would be a very crazy fight because both of them have such good kickboxing. Or you could do Navajo versus Khalil, which could just be like a calf kick fest, and then my boy Khalil could get back for Jan. But yeah, so many good new light heavyweights coming up, and Navajo has so many more options. He doesn't have to fight these absolute cans outside of the top 15 at light heavyweight, and now he is here. He's going to be here in the top 5 at light heavyweight, and we are seeing a new generation of light heavyweights coming into the top 15 in real time. So yeah, good knockout for Sterling. I really hope Jan retires, tearing his meniscus and get knocking out. It's just time to call it a day, Jan. I'm really sorry. I still love you. Here we go. Oh my God, guys. When I tell you that I don't think I've heard a crowd this loud since that French card with Imavov and Borjalo on it. I'm serious, bro. These Serbian fans go nuts. They go crazy for their fighters when they're like fighting, and it's just insane. Uros walking out, they're like chanting his name, Uros, Uros, and then he gets in there, flatlines Daniel Rodriguez, bro. It was like a kind of like an overhand left hook, and then a right hook following it up, and then like a knee to push him over, and then just like drills him with a soccer kick to the gut, and he's just landing vicious ground and pound, and it's just over, bro. Yo, Uros is the next like big thing at welterweight, bro. This is what people must have been seeing with Carlos Prates coming up. Bro, Uros needs like a top 10 level threat, bro. We need to see him against like a guy like Amasov or Leon Edwards, or like I don't even know, like JDM Gabriel Bonfim, because this guy just has a touch of death in his hands, and it's so crazy. This guy's post-fight interview had to at least be like 10 times longer than his actual fight. He is clearly just a level above these like lower top 15 guys. And I do want to see him against a grappling heavy threat, because he has been choked out by Jalen Turner and I think, was it Alorabai? Yeah, I think Alorabai did choke him out. So I do want to see Uros fight a really good top 10 level grappler, just to see if he still got it. And against any striker, dude, I worry on the feet, because this guy just like so many of these new welterweight guys just have touch of death in their hands. So very, very good win for Uros. I really hope he bounces back super quickly. He needs to fight like sometime at the end of the year. I could only pray that he comes around and like saves the 330 card. So yeah, beautiful win by Uros Medic, and just the crowd's just going crazy for him. But yeah, super great card, like generational type card. I'm so glad my work got canceled and I was able to watch this card. This has to be like top 5 cards I think I've ever watched, because this shit was just generational. Let me know what you guys think about this fight card and like matchups for all these guys going into the future. And yeah, generational card. Love this. Had just like one of the best watching experiences ever. Hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you all in my next prediction video, which will probably be saddle keeled camera. I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.